Working for the weekend. It's Friday, November the 22nd, and this is WagerTalk Today, live noon Eastern every Monday through Friday here on WagerTalk TV. And don't forget, last call tomorrow on Saturday and Sunday, 11 a.m. Eastern, Saturday, Sunday, noon Eastern. So you've got some live programming this weekend as well. But we're finishing the week right here on WagerTalk Today because it's Prez Free Zone. I'm Steve Merrill, filling in for the Prez, joined by my co-host Teddy Covers once again. And we've got a nice show. We start off with the prop master himself, Andy Lang, breaking down some NFL action for us from the prop world. Also going to have Ross Benjamin on, the legend Ross Benjamin, talking some college football and NFL as well. And then we're going to finish with Jesse Schule. He's going to look at the NBA and the NFL. So lots of pro sports, a little college football mixed in as well. And then, of course, Teddy's got a big game breakdown as well for the NFL and what bettors learn. So let's get right to it and bring on Andy Lang, the prop master. Andy, welcome to the show. So you had UFC Live on last weekend. Nice view there, about 7 straight hours. I don't know how you do it. And will you be doing that again this week for Fight Night, which is, Teddy pointed out, 3 a.m. his start, 6 a.m. Eastern tomorrow in Macau.
So I don't know why everything is so weird, but we have the Formula One situation, and qualifying is at 1 a.m. 1 a.m. my time, so thank you very much. And then I could stay up for that and then just roll right into, the 3 a.m. fight. I could go live for 12 hours tonight, guys, and just do like maybe 16 hours. Maybe start with the nighttime college football games, roll it into Formula One practice and qualifying, roll it in, and then sleep for like 3 days.
You will not be live after that if you do that. Live might be during the show only.
Probably not going to go live for 6 hours starting at 3 a.m. for UFC. So,
yeah, I don't know that there's much of a market for a live stream at 3 a.m.
That's a good
for your audience. Yeah. That being said, you'll be in action, and you'll be in action on this one as well. Let's talk NFL props for Sunday. You got one you're looking at in the Commanders-Cowboys game. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, just wanting to fade this Dallas Cowboys team, in particular defense. I'll take Brian Robinson over 71.5 yards rushing. The last 3 games he's played in, he's been close to this total, 63, 65, 71. This is a Dallas defense that's just getting shredded. The last 3 weeks, Dallas is giving up 143 yards rushing per game. The other interesting thing, Jaden Daniels really seems to be nursing the rib injury that he's dealing with. Only 5 and 18 yards rushing the last 2 weeks. That's by far his lowest 2 totals of the year. So I just like betting against these teams that really look like they've kind of given up. I mean, we all watched Dallas just get shredded by Joe Mixon. So I think this is a really big Brian Robinson Jr. game. 71.5 seems too low, so I'll take the over.
So here's my question. Are you worried at all that it's so much of a blowout that Robinson sits? I mean, he's not getting a ton of carries. And if Washington's in firm control of this game, he could sit the second half. He might not, he's only had 1 game all year. He's had more than 17 carries, and they're really trying to monitor his usage. Does that worry you here?
Yeah, of course. You hope it's a little bit closer. You hope that they do get a lead because of the rushing, and you hope that they, maybe ride him and instead of Jaden Daniels. So, yeah, they're protecting some guys here. Who knows? Maybe Dallas comes out and, I don't know, maybe they keep it close. It's the NFL. Anything can happen. It's professional athletes. These guys are playing for jobs. Maybe, maybe they give a spirited effort. But, the lack of carries is a little bit of a concern, but it's just a Dallas defense I want to be fading right now.
Speaking of fading, by the way, I will have a solo video of the Cowboys and not my Washington Commanders. I was born a Redskin fan and will die a Redskin fan with that little beanie. I've got a Gibbs hat in the background, viewers, if you can spot it. Look real closely, you can spot it in the background there from the 1980s, the red one. I think it's under the basketball. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, I see
that's it. That's an 80s style. I found that in a bag the other week when I was looking for something else. Lots of props. I knew the prop master, Andy Lang, would appreciate that on Wager Talk Today. Speaking of bad teams, though, Chiefs, Panthers, another one of these haves, have-nots matchups. You finding a prop in this one?
Yeah, I like Noah Gray. Over 16.5 receiving. I wanted to go with his over 1.5 receptions, but it's a little bit too juicy. But I love this number. Gone over in 6 out of the last 7 games. The Panthers give up 60 yards per game to tight ends. And is this really a game that the Chiefs really want to use Travis Kelce? a bunch for. It just feels like a game where they should be in control. Probably a lot of running, and Noah Gray has just been he's been doing really good. He's kind of one of these hidden secret guys that's been cashing his props every game. So Panthers defense struggling mightily, and a 16.5. I'd expect Noah Gray to go for 2 or 3 catches for 20 plus yards. So yeah, happily take Noah Gray over 16.5.
So we saw Travis Kelce have his quietest game in a month, 6 weeks last week. He was a real non-factor in the loss to the Bills. Are you worried at all that Kelce's going to be on the field a little bit more here, which means that Gray is going to be on the field a little bit less here and not get his opportunities?
No, I was trying to figure out why Kelce had such a bad game. The only thing that I really came across was someone was making the point that Kelce's just much worse when you're playing him man-to-man. And that's what the Bills did. I'm not sure. I don't know what scheme the Panthers are going to run. But, I mean, listen, you got to believe that if the Chiefs get up in this game and they're in complete control, I don't know why you would be trying to put much wear and tear on Kelce. And Kelce could get over, and Noah Gray could get over as well. So Noah Gray has gone over in games that Kelce's had big games. So, no, I know Kelce's the big name, but for value and for the number, I'll take Noah Gray.
It's Andy Lang talking some NFL props for this weekend here on Wager Talk Today. And Andy, you don't do a lot with college football, but when you do, I know you do quite well. And you've got a big 5% going tonight on Friday. Tell us about that.
Yeah, 21-8 lifetime with college football plays. We only do 1 play per week. That's it. So we're 8-4 this season, and yeah, 5% goes off tonight. Really, really excited about that. So plus 144 units last 365 days. All sports wrapping up a really solid year. So yeah, 5% play. We don't do too many of these in college football. I think it's only like our 2nd or 3rd one. So, but love the spot. It's a really, really great spot for this play. So yeah, check that out. Friday night starts tonight.
And Andy and I will be back on the NBA show. We'll be talking some pro basketball at 3:30 Eastern live here on Friday. And we take all the questions in the chat as well. So check out NBA Tip-Off. And I know I talk about diversification all the time with Andy and how, Teddy, your selections and mine are never really correlated to his. He does props. We don't. Just want to point out, Andy's up 144 units the last 365 days. I checked today. I'm up 170 units a calendar year ago, 365 days. I would venture to guess we probably have not had 1 play overlap. Maybe he had a college football game when he releases 1 a week. But you're talking about over 300 units with 2 cappers that are not correlated. It just shows the power of diversification, and Andy is a great way to diversify your portfolio at WagerTalk.com. Ross Benjamin around the corner. We're going to talk some college football and NFL with Ross. Also, Jesse Schule breaking down some NBA and the NFL. Teddy's got a big game breakdown on the NFL as well, so stay tuned. But Teddy, for what bettors learned, we revisited the Paul Tyson fight yesterday. You're going to revisit another scandal, if you will, here in the betting world.
I don't know if the Paul Tyson fight was a scandal per se.
It was borderline.
But this was, remember last March when all of a sudden Temple had all their games pulled off the board and the 12-19 team was being investigated for potential point shaving issues. And then, of course, they went on that huge run in the AAC tournament after the allegations before losing to UAB in the championship game. That was last March. We just had some buzz on it this week, and I wanted to follow up because this is transparency working. This is sports betting legalized working. It's not working. This is what it's supposed to happen. All right. So last spring, Sportsbooks alerted to a U.S. Integrity, which is Matt Holtz. Matt Holtz, a friend of the program. He's a friend of Wager Talk. He's a good guy. And he runs U.S. Integrity, which is the monitoring service that the sportsbooks pay into because they want to know what kind of going on with unusual activity. And there was a game in the regular season, March 7th, where the UAB -2 to -8. No injury news, no nothing. A strange line move. They went back and looked at it more, and they found that there's these first halves that have been betting. Many of the same customers who bet against Temple in the UAB game have been betting on games in the Owls, particularly first half and first half totals. So they dig. Now, nothing's happened yet. All right. The player who's been concerned, Hyzier Miller, actually transferred to Virginia Tech in the offseason, and then Virginia Tech said, sorry, you can't play here because you're under federal investigation and NCAA inquiry. But Miller was the guy who the allegations are centered around. And no one's commenting. The FBI is not confirming or denying the existence of investigation. The NCAA is not commenting. The Temple spokesman, he's aware of the deeply concerning allegations of sports wagering last season. Will cooperate fully should we be contacted. All this stuff is ongoing and moving right now. There's nothing that actually happened. But what did happen is some suspicious betting got flagged. It got investigated. And now we're seeing some of the progress from that investigation. So this is a good thing for sports betting. We want the light to shine bright on betting allegations that aren't on the up and up. All of us want games that players are going all out, not dealing with alternative sources for how they're going to make their money. Of course, NIL helps us in that regard as well. But the bottom line is scandal. No, this is the process working instead of the process being buried under the rug. Steve?
Yeah, the key thing you said there during that whole analysis is that the sports books want to know as well. That's what gets lost in all of this, is that they're the last people that want something to be fixed because they don't know till after the fact either, and they're the ones losing money. Like, we're not losing money. The game gets hurt integrity-wise, but the sports books are the ones that lose more than anybody when something is shady and fixed. And like you said, sports betting is not going away, so we got two options. You can make betting on college sports illegal, like a lot of states still want to do, and make pro sports only betting. And then it's going to be underground, offshore, and we're not going to see any of this. So once again, it works. Transparency works. And it also, you're going to have a teeny little hiccup, right? Occasionally, once every other year, something's going to happen, like the NBA with the player prop a year ago. And then it solves itself and probably scares everybody straight for the next 5 years. So it's another benefit to this being transparent. And if something did happen, Teddy, it makes it less likely to happen in the future.
Sure. And look, we would get a betting scandal every year or two anyway, without, that we knew of. And anyone actually investigate. So the fact that now and that's par for the course. I would expect the under on future Jonte Porters for Toronto, but it could happen. And if we get one, we'll figure it out. And it'll be investigated and the problem will be solved. That's the advantage of one of the many advantages of legalized regulated sports betting.
Right. And the fact that we've had a few when it was illegal, you can imagine how many we didn't know about. So there are probably even more back then, and we've hardly seen any now with the legalization. Speaking of scandals, let's bring on Ross Benjamin. What a great segue. Ross the boss. I like to make him giggle. I had over under 2 seconds. I can make Ross giggle, and it was actually like half a second. So the under cashes. We're good. No more plays needed for the weekend. All
Teddy,
right, Ross,
it sounds like the kid from Temple didn't get too good of an NIL deal if he's partaking in those type of activities. You would think the NIL, Steve and Teddy, would cure some of those problems anyway. But yeah, again, I don't know the specifics of that particular situation. It's yet to be disclosed to the public.
Speaking of the Wild Wild West, the NIL, and I've talked to a lot of people, William and Mary. So got it on today, so I can prove I've talked to them. But no, they both basketball, football program. They're saying Wild Wild West. You hear that term over again, and the coaches even say they don't know how half of this works. And the transfer portal, and we're going to see a lot of changes the next couple of years. But kind of the same thing. I'd rather these guys being paid transparently than under the table with a used car dealership. And I'm not big on caps. I'm a big free market guy, as you all know. Hey, if an Alabama quarterback can earn $1 million, more power to him. Keeps them in school for an extra year. But Ross, speaking of college football, we haven't talked any college football yet today. I'm glad you're using this game because I did my top 25 video, which is now live here on WagerTalk TV. Click subscribe, click the bell. You'll see Teddy's free videos. Ross does a ton of free videos. I do as well. You get instant alerts if you click that bell. On my top 25, I did mention the BYU-Arizona State game, and I felt like that was a little bit of an under-the-radar top 25 matchup, getting shadowed a bit, obviously, by the Indiana-Ohio State game. But big question for me, Ross, is does BYU have a letdown here after their first loss of the season? I would have loved to have played against them last week with Kansas, but plus 2.5 was just not enough for me. But they were finally exposed. What are you doing with this one?
Yeah, a lot of the reason why this flies under the radar, too, is I don't know how many people know how good Arizona State really is. They come in at 8-2 and ranked number 21 in the country, I believe. So, this BYU team, they're coming off that upset loss 17-13 at home against Kansas last Saturday, crushing blow to their playoff chances, Steve. And this is a textbook example to me, Teddy, of a team that this can turn in, one loss can turn into two losses, what I'm trying to say. And what I mean by that phrase, and I know you guys know what I mean by that phrase, is a team coming off an emotional game in which they were undefeated, they lost, and then the situation that occurred as because of such is now that they're on the outside looking in when it comes to the college football race, because obviously the Big 12 doesn't stack up with the SEC and the Big 10. So a two-loss team, especially in the Big 12, is going to be eliminated automatically. And this is a case that the BYU Cougars might not make the college football playoff even if they went out. And then we have to go back 2 games, Steve, and you look at, they barely got by Utah, 22-21, in a controversial finish to that game. And that was a Utah team that I believe had lost 5 in a row going into that contest. So BYU has shown signs they're not as good as their record indicates. They've been a little bit fortunate this year. Arizona State quietly 8-2 this season, and it's elevated them into a national ranking. And the Sun Devils are perfect 5-0 straight up in ATS at home, Teddy, this season. And they're also a perfect 5-0 against the spread as a favorite this season. Their average line as a favorite in those 5 contests, minus 4.3, right around what we're looking at right now. And they won those games by 15.4 points per game. So when they've been favored in a game, the odds maker's been spot on, because they've not only covered, but they covered by a very comfortable margin in each. So I'm going to go Arizona State here, minus the 3. I just think BYU, they've been, like I said, they've been less than impressive over the last 2 games. And I think that emotional letdown. And I think this is one of those situations where one loss can turn into 2, Teddy.
I mean, it doesn't BYU still have a ton to play for? I mean, we're talking about a team that's playing for a Big 12 title, and there's 4 teams now in contention, and this is probably an elimination game for one of those 4 teams. Arizona State or BYU will get eliminated from Big 12 title consideration. And of course, if you win the Big 12, you're getting a playoff berth. So it's not anything that that BYU can't still accomplish.
Right.
When we look at BYU as a dog this year, they've been dogs 3 times. They've won all 3 of those games in straight up fashion. When you put those 2 factors together, BYU still has everything to play for. They can save, they're still in position, and they've been really good in this road dog role, or as a dog against anyone. Do either of those concern you?
They're valid points, but they don't concern me because, again, they've had a lot to play for in their last 2 games, and they lose to a 3-6 Kansas team, and then they barely squeaked by. I'm very fortunate to win that Utah game, and that's a Utes team that had lost 5 in a row entering that matchup. So they've, them having a lot to play for at this point, they have to show me more than what they've shown in the last 2 games. I mean, they were in a secure position to win the Big 12 and be in the college football playoff. Arizona State is a team that's coming on right now. Does it concern me that BYU is so good as an underdog this year? I believe you said 3-0 straight up in ATS as a dog, correct, Teddy? If I'm not mistaken.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So
I was going to say it'd be K-State, UCF, and Baylor, all as dogs.
Okay. So my counterpoint to that would be, well, Arizona State is 5-0 against the spread as a favorite. They're 5-0 straight up in ATS at home. So, although those are valid points, Teddy, I think the part that I mentioned with ASU outweighs what the underdog role that BYU has been successful in. And a lot of those, when they were an underdog, it was at that time they were a valid underdog. Now they're an underdog because at that time when they were the underdog in those contests, not a lot of people foresaw them going 9-0 to start the season and being a college football playoff contender or even a Big 12 contender. But that's not the case anymore. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, in the previous 3 years, previous 4 years, actually, BYU's 4-1 as a home dog, but they're just 4-7 as a road dog the last 3 years, coming into this year, obviously. So we'll see if it reverts back to the norm. And don't forget, K-State was a 7.5-point favorite as Arizona State upset them last week, also as an underdog. So a common opponent there that you guys were talking about. Ross, Benjamin, breaking down some college football. Now let's talk some NFL, Ross. Late action, 4:25 Eastern, Sunday afternoon. Cardinals, Seahawks. Pick 'em. What are you doing with this one?
Well, I mean, I'm taking a better team. I'm going to make it real simple. My eye test has told me watching, and again, I'm stating the obvious here. Arizona has been far the better team over the last month and a half or so than Seattle. And sometimes we are guilty of outthinking himself, and I'm not going to allow that to happen for myself in this matchup. Seattle is coming off a momentum building 20-17 upset win at San Francisco. But, that win doesn't weigh as heavily as it would have been earlier in the year because San Francisco right now is struggling. This is a team that started out the year 3-0. They've gone 2-5 since. They haven't won back-to-back games since a little over 2 months ago. So late September is the last time they won back-to-back games. And we're talking about a pick 'em game here. And again, the other part of the equation is the Seahawks, who won their first two at home, have gone 0-4 straight up in ATS at home since, losing by 12 points per game, and had a turnover margin in those four home losses of -6. Arizona, on the other hand, red-hot team right now, 4-0 straight up in ATS in their last four, winning by 14.5 points per game during that winning stretch. And only allowing 14.3 points per game. They're playing great complementary football right now. They're 4-1 straight up in ATS this year whenever the point spread is between +3 and -3, which, again, some people will say that's coincidental. I'm not one of them because I believe that when the odds makers deem a matchup to be of the even variety, that Arizona has stepped up to the plate in those contests and might have been a bit undervalued at that. Here's the biggest key, Teddy, that I'm looking at in this matchup. Arizona Cardinals are number 2 in the NFL in rushing. I don't know a lot of people really are aware of that because they fly under the radar in terms of, they haven't had a lot of success in recent years. Now they're coming on, but 149 yards per game rushing. And Seattle, on the other hand, is 27th in the NFL in stopping the run. I just think that's going to be the major key element in this game that will decide the winner. So I'm going to take the Arizona Cardinals here as a pick 'em over Seattle.
So Arizona had a losing season last year. And obviously this offseason, Kyler Murray spent a ton of time in the facility, and they talked about changing the culture. And clearly they've done that. They went into the bye, 4 straight wins, 4 straight covers. Are you worried at all that this team's a little bit fat and happy coming out of the bye, that the focus wasn't there necessarily? They've accomplished what they want to accomplish. They've already won more games than last year. Arizona's turned their fortunes around. Is this we went on the bye and now we're not going to be quite the same team we were coming out? Or are you confident that Arizona kept their focus through the time off this past 2 weeks?
And it's a valid point, again, as always with you, Teddy. And like I told you a million times before, and I'll say it again, I stop worrying when I get up in the morning because I'm still alive. Other than that, I do the work on a game. And in terms of your point, I would say that Arizona's sights are set much higher at this point than just exceeding their wins from a season ago. They see a road to winning the NFC West here. They're playing with a ton of momentum. They're facing a very beatable opponent. So although those types of scenarios I get, it's not like we're talking about a team that's 7-7 and 4 games out of first place, and they've already exceeded their win total of 3 last year. This is a whole different situation. I think realistically, they truly believe they could win the NFC West at this point. So I don't see that scenario affecting Arizona in terms of just being content with what they've accomplished thus far.
Ross Benjamin breaking down college football, NFL, and Ross has a ton of free play videos throughout the week, so make sure you click subscribe and you click that bell as well so you get an instant alert when Ross has a free play up for you here on the channel. And Ross, let everybody know what you got going on also at WagerTalk.com right now.
Yeah, big Saturday in store in college football. Minimum of 5 plays. They'll be up later today. 117-78 is my college football record since December 2nd of 2022, and that's just shy of 2 years now, Steve. And at this point, when you're hitting 59% with that type of volume of plays, it's no longer a fluke. During that time, I've made $10,140 based on our grading system at WagerTalk. Also this year, I haven't tailed off whatsoever, 39-26 this year in college football. Number 2 at WagerTalk as we speak, at 60% winners, a net profit of over $2,500. So a lot of great stuff going on in college football. I'll have a 4% best bet going in the NFL on Sunday. And my 4% best bets in college football, NFL combined right now, 45-23 run, good for 68%. And this also dates back all the way to December of 2022. So a lot of good stuff going on this coming weekend in college football and the NFL. And again, you can find me at my personal link, wt.buzz/RB.
Love these short codes. Running back /RB, Ross Benjamin. Check him out on WagerTalk.com. And, it is a great football time right now because not only did Ross mention the red-hot runs he's on, but also Thanksgiving week is coming up. It's probably the best week of college and pro football. And right now we have a special Wager Talk for every capper. No promo code needed. The rest of the college and pro football seasons combined for just $3.99. That works out to about $5 a day for the rest of college and pro football combined all the way through the playoffs. Don't forget, 12-team playoff in college football. We go into late January now. And then, of course, the Super Bowl in February. You're getting college and pro combined for $3.99 total for the next 3 months. Ross Benjamin, Teddy Covers, myself, Steve Merrill. Get all of us and save big through this weekend only. No promo code needed right now for the rest of the football season. Just $3.99 at WagerTalk.com. All right, big game this Sunday night, Teddy Covers. Prime time, and we talked about it a little bit yesterday. They didn't have to flex out of this one. Eagles, Rams, Sunday night NBC. A little big game breakdown.
Big game breakdown time. Philly, 6 straight wins. They'll have certainly as much crowd support and home field edge in LA as the Rams do, and yet nobody trusts them. Not me, not the betting markets, not Dan, the producer, not you. Nobody seems to trust Philadelphia. Meanwhile, the LA Rams on Bet On It, Wager Talk's #1 show, I did a stock watch, just the tip alert on the Rams when they were 1-4, and said, buy this team. They did this last year. They have a Super Bowl winner at quarterback. The wide receiver playmakers are about to get healthy, and they're healthy now, and the Rams have gone 4-1 since. So certainly there's a case to be made for the LA Rams in this game. But it's not a case that I'm going to make. Before I talk about it, let me let you know, 7-day all-access pass right now, $69 if you use promo code TC69. First time all year, 5% big ticket in college football on Saturday, 5% big ticket in the NFL for Monday Night Football. You get those both with the 7-day all-access pass, and you'll pay less than you would for the 2 individual plays, and you get every other play that I release in every sport. Again, TC69 at checkout, 7-day all-access. And as always, we appreciate the likes, the follows, and the comments very, very much. So we talk about this 4-1 run for the Rams. Who'd they beat? Well, they beat the Raiders. Okay. They beat the Vikings, traveling cross-country on a short week in the first game without their left tackle, which was key. They beat Seattle when they were on a 1-5 slide. I cashed with LA in that game. And by the way, LA was not a right side. They had a 103-yard pick six and won in overtime after Seattle was stopped on downs instead of kicking a field goal in OT. And then last week, they beat the Patriots. So 2 decent wins, 2 wins over bottom feeders. Both decent wins come with asterisks. That's not a who's who of elite teams. And they lost to Miami during that span. Philly won here last year by a comfortable margin, 23-14. Jalen Hurts picked apart the Rams defense. And with Philadelphia's approach, they changed their approach. I mean, they are the #1 running team in the NFL. They rush for 55% of their plays. That's by far the most in the league. That's made Jalen Hurts better. That's made Saquon Barkley better. and they're facing a defense that can't stop anybody. That's the difference in this ballgame for me. I believe in both these offenses. Maybe LA's every bit as good, if not better, than Philly. But on the defensive side of the football, the Eagles' defense is legit. Okay? Since the bye week, Vic Fangio, the team has allowed 11 points per game, 190 yards per game. I know LA's better than most of the teams that they faced during this span. But when you're allowed 6 offensive touchdowns in 6 games and you're facing a clear weaker defense than you, I can only lay in this ballgame. And it's key to note, of all the pieces of advice that you're going to get from this big game breakdown, there's a huge difference between laying -2.5 and -3. Right now, looking at the WagerTalk free live odds screen, this is a split line. +3, widely available. -2.5 for Philly, widely available. If you're laying with the Eagles, find a 2.5. If you're taking with the Rams, find a 3. That's the edge as bettors that we have. And if you don't have enough outs, open up another one and you'll be able to find these numbers. There's your big game breakdown. Back to you, Mr. Merrill.
Yeah, I was going to say the difference between 2.5 and 3, about 8, 9, 10% given on different games. So, right now, if you like the Rams, there's no reason why you don't get a +3. If you like the Eagles, there's no reason you don't get a -2.5. It's that simple. And I talked about that last night, Teddy. I did my free NFL Thursday night video earlier in the week when the line was 36.5. And I thought the weather situation might be a little overrated. And I told people, playing over 36.5, you have about a 3 to 4% better chance of winning automatically because it's not 37 anymore if you're playing the over. So numbers are so key. And with all these legalized sports books in every state, there is no reason not to have 3, 4, 5 accounts. Take your bankroll and divide it by 5 and open 5 accounts. And you will make extra winnings by doing absolutely nothing else but line shopping. That's how the pros do it. That's how Teddy Covers does it. And that's how myself, Steve Merrill, does it. If you want to win, that's how you need to do it as well. Big game breakdown style. And I'll also have a free play video on this game later this weekend. So once again, click subscribe and click that bell for instant alerts for all these primetime games here on WagerTalk TV. And I've got a dilemma. I cashed again yesterday with that free play on the over. Now 9-1 since I started doing every Thursday night game in week 3. Do I dare do all 3 Thanksgiving games, Teddy? I'm putting that 9-1 run on the line. I don't know what to do. I'm a sucker. I probably will. So once again, a huge football week coming up. So make sure you subscribe and click that bell for instant alerts. All right, Jesse Schule, another guy who does a great job with the solo videos throughout the week. A lot of free plays as well from Jesse. And we could have had to have a Canadian. Ross is almost Canadian. He's like on the top New York border. But Jesse's the true Canadian coming to us from Thailand right now, if that makes any sense to the new viewers out there. And Jesse, let's talk with a little NBA here. We haven't had any basketball on the show yet today. So give us an NBA prop you're looking at tonight on Friday.
Well, Dallas and Denver and Luka Doncic will be out for at least a week due to obesity. Perhaps a wrist sprain, but obesity might have something to do with it for Luka. I think that gives us an opportunity to look at the player prop market and take his teammate Kyrie or Irving over 25.5 points. Irving is averaging 24 points per game this season. He dropped 43 on Denver the last time he played them, which was about 2 weeks ago. And Luka averages 23 shot attempts per game. So with Luka out, those 23 shots are going to get divvied up between the rest of the starters. I'm guessing P.J. Washington's going to get extra minutes, but certainly they're not going to want P.J. Washington taking 23 shots. So I'm projecting Kyrie to get at least 3-4 more attempts than he's normally getting. If he's hitting 40-50%, that should push him over with his average being 24 over that 25.5. I think it's a bargain getting Kyrie at over under 25.5 points. So we're taking the over with Kyrie.
So here's my question. When you take Luka out of the equation, all of a sudden, that's the guy who drives the offense. So now you're going to see Kyrie handling the ball more, probably distributing a little bit more, and maybe not getting the ball where he loves to shoot in the same way. Do you worry that without the point guard on the floor, that Kyrie's offensive efficiency numbers will go down? He may get the attempts, but he might not get the points. Talk about that.
Yeah, that's an excellent point, Teddy. And I can't tell you that I might have overlooked that. But that said, somebody's going to have to do the scoring, and I think the increase in attempts, even if he's less efficient, we're only needing to make up 1.5 to what he normally averages. So I still say he gets there. Also, Joker's questionable for the Nuggets. So who knows what can happen in this game?
Maybe hedge that a little bit with a Kyrie assist over prop as well, because if he's not scoring, someone else is probably doing the scoring. So a little way to hedge that, maybe Kyrie over assist and over points without Luka on the court tonight for the Mavs. Don't forget, NBA tip-off show on at 3:30 Eastern today. We'll be breaking down this game and a lot of other big games tonight live at 3:30 Eastern, the NBA tip-off show. And Jesse, let's keep talking some props here. And you're going to give us a prop with both teams in the Patriot-Dolphin game. And I think these are somewhat correlated, right? If you think, maybe one team's going to do well, the other quarterback has to throw more. I like where you're going with this one.
Yeah, we'll look at the Pats Dolphins, and there's some interesting trends here. Before I give out the trends, I will say that I don't normally place bets solely based on trends. I like to look at the trends and then see if the remaining evidence supports them or not. But we got some distinct advantage for Miami. 7-1 straight up, 8-0 against the spread in the last 8 meetings. 9-2 straight up and 9-2 against the spread in the last 11 home meetings versus New England. And we have seen the Patriots pretty good defensively at the beginning of the year, but in their last 4 losses, they are giving up 30-plus points. And at this point in the year, the Patriots winning games isn't going to help them much. They're a team that's rebuilding. I think their focus point is developing their quarterback, Drake May. That's going to be the most important thing, is to get him reps, see how he develops. And so I like Drake May to go over his passing yards. The game script calls for the Patriots to be losing, and therefore they're more passing. And if I look at May's performances this year, he's gone over this number, the number being 219.5 posted for this game. He's gone over against the Rams in his last game, 282 yards. 276 yards against the Jacksonville Jaguars, 243 yards against Houston. Now he's gone under against the Bears, Titans, and the Jets. But if you look at the theme between those 3 teams, they're 3 of the better pass defenses in the NFL. And I don't know that Miami's up there with them. Last week, Gardner Minshew threw for 282 yards, a pair of touchdowns on 30 of 43 passing against this Dolphins defense. I'm going to take Miami team total over 26.5. And as you mentioned, Steve, a correlating play with Drake May over 219.5 passing yards.
So here's my question. We like Miami team total over. We like Drake May passing yards total over. Why not just bet the full game over? If we expect New England to be able to throw the football on Miami to get there, it's less bets, less juice.
Unlike the last segment with the NBA, I actually anticipated you asking this question, Teddy. And my answer is it's going to be 27-7 in the third quarter, and the Patriots are going to score 2 more touchdowns in garbage time. It ends 27-21. We get the team total by 0.5 point, and you miss out if you had the -7. So that's my response to that.
Also, quite some line value loss, too. This line opened 43.5, 44. It's now 46. So it's crossed over those semi-key numbers of 44 and 45. It's on a dead number of 46 now as far as the game total. And the Dolphins are currently 7 -15. So if you like Miami, probably play them sooner than later. If you like the Patriots here, again, that line shopping, you might be able to find some 7.5s by this weekend. Jesse, thank you for joining us. Second time this week. We appreciate it. And also let everybody know what you got going on at WagerTalk.com.
Myself and Jimmy Adams have a special buy one, get one free monthly all-access college basketball. We're both on the leaderboards with college basketball. In fact, I was 14-1 heading into yesterday's action. I had the Ohio Bob Kittens. They were up 3 with 2 seconds left. And they allowed a 3-pointer to force overtime. That was an ugly loss for myself and several other cappers at WagerTalk, including Adam Trigger. But 14-2 ain't bad. That's 88%. We're looking to get back on track today. I do have a play in college hoops, and I got a 5% college football play, testing a perfect 5-0 top college football play run on Saturday in a big SEC game.
It's Jesse Schule, WT.buzz/JS. Gets all his best bets. And don't forget, there's free plays from each and every capper throughout the day, each and every day. Check out the free plays on everyone's page. Also, last 20 best bets. Win or lose, we show you our best bets on a nightly basis. Rolling recap at the bottom, last 20. You can click on any of them as well to read the analysis. I highly recommend, if you're new to Wager Talk or you're new to betting, check out Teddy, check out Jesse, check out myself, Steve Merrill. Look how we handicap, read the analysis, check out the free plays. And then when you're ready to get on board, check out those special offers, including the rest of the football season from each and every capper right now, just $3.99 at WagerTalk.com. All right, we have college basketball tip-off show at 2:15 Eastern. We didn't talk much college hoops today, but we have a full show at 2:15 Eastern, myself and Adam Trigger. NBA show 3:30 Eastern. This weekend, last call Saturday 11, Sunday noon Eastern for college and pro football. Click subscribe, click that bell for instant alerts. Thumbs up, like if you like the show today. Thumbs up, like it, and comment below on the replays. We read the comments and we reply back. I've got an NBA best bet tonight. I'll talk more about that on the NBA tip-off show. Teddy Covers, take us home.
Sure. We also have the College Football Today show. When you're talking about all the shows that we have at Wager Talk, College Football Today, 10:15 Pacific, 1:15 Eastern Time, just about a half hour from now. So we got you covered. NFL, college football, NBA, college hoops, NHL, and of course, we do them all right here on Wager Talk Today. We appreciate the likes. We appreciate the follows. We appreciate you paying attention to what we have to say. Best of luck this weekend. Steve and I will be back on Monday with another edition of Wager Talk Today. Between now and then, enjoy the games and best of luck with all your bets.